Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Attorney General Daniel Cameron's lawsuit against 3 pharmacy benefit managers over insulin prices affects Kentuckians more than you think. And downtown Hazard might be seeing some redevelopment in an effort to make Hazard a destination to live.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 6 o'clock on August 10th. Now let's check in with Chief Forecaster Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. And it's about time that kids are probably starting to wake up for schools that have already started. I know you said this earlier, but if they're getting on the bus this morning, they're probably going to need an umbrella, raincoat, something. Yeah, because we can hear it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's coming down pretty good in a lot of areas this morning, so just be ready for that. Slow down if you're heading to work. Slow down if you're taking the kids to school this morning. Probably some ponding water on the roads. Let's take a look at live pinpoint Doppler radar, show you where the worst of it is right now. Some rumbles of thunder have died off, but I'm sure they're still around in some locations this morning. It's just heavy rain right now. Another line developing back out to the west, so we'll keep an eye on that for you. Zooming in on some of the heaviest pockets of rain, we've got Hyden over there in Leslie County. We'll take you over there in just a second. Down toward Cumberland, Harlan, Pineville, Middlesboro, over into southwest Virginia, Norton, Pennington Gap, and over toward St. Charles over that way over there in Lee County, Virginia, Ewing area. But again, Dorton, Pike County, Mousy, Knott County. Again, just everybody getting a lot of rain this morning. There's downtown Hyden. Thanks to our friends over at EarthCam for providing that camera for us. And you see there wet roads and just a little bit of traffic out there in downtown Hyden this morning. 60s and 70s out there. Logan is our warm spot this morning at 72. Y is our cool spot at 63. A lot of upper 60s and low 70s. 76 this afternoon. Not going to go up a whole lot. Even when the rain starts to become more scattered, it's going to be cloudy for most of the day. And we'll see those rain chances hang tough this morning before starting to drop off as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Olivia?
Brandon, thank you. Both Governor Andy Beshear and Attorney General Daniel Cameron are pushing law enforcement issues. Yesterday, Governor Beshear announced his priorities for the legislature in the form of police raises and more protection. WYMT's Phil Pendleton reports from Frankfort.
Who's the better governor for the police?
I will back the blue.
Public safety has remained a top priority.
Has become big in this year's race. Last month, Attorney General Daniel Cameron announced a public safety plan detailing a death penalty for people who kill officers, along with bonuses for officer recruitment.
Our law enforcement community to understand that they are protected and that they are cared for because they protect and serve our communities.
Today, Governor Beshear said he's proposing budgetary items for next year, including a $2,500 pay raise for troopers and millions for body armor.
There is no excuse not to fund these grants to provide life-saving armor. Right now, we have a record budget surplus, the largest rainy day fund in history.
Daniel Cameron's campaign issued a statement this morning stating that he is the only candidate in this race with the ability to work with the legislature, and he also says he's the only one that can reduce crime. Cameron also mentioned in that statement again the 1,700 criminals that he says that Beshear released going back to 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic, saying that a third of those committed other felonies. Beshear has said he released nonviolent offenders in a President Trump-backed plan to reduce prison overcrowding during the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, Beshear was joined by 2 troopers, including one who survived an ambush in Floyd County.
The next shot struck me in the back as I turned to retreat to cover. The round hit my plate carrier, which provided such protection. I initially questioned if I'd even been shot.
Beshear says the budgetary item would earmark a $20 million grant for the protective vests. Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Kentucky House Speaker David Osborne released a statement yesterday afternoon saying that they have arguably one of the most pro-law enforcement legislatures in the state's history and will review the governor's proposal. Attorney General Daniel Cameron also filed a lawsuit against 3 major pharmacy benefit managers about insulin pricing earlier this month. With almost 500,000 Kentuckians living with diabetes, experts say the price of insulin is key. WYMT's Madison Carmouche has more on what this means for patients.
People who require insulin know that it is not a want, but a need for their body to function. Yeah, I mean, over the years in practice, seen several times where patients, for one reason or another, whether it was their flooding and the loss of their insulin or the fact that they can't afford it and just don't take it, that they're going to end up hospitalized, especially a type 1 that has to have insulin.
The price of insulin is not a new conversation, but with Attorney General Daniel Cameron's lawsuit, there may be a new solution.
Number one, PBMs need to be regulated. They need to be overseen and regulated. You know, they try to blame these prices on the drug companies when in fact, you know, it's them pushing those costs onto the patients.
The professionals at primary care centers of Eastern Kentucky say they are working to make sure patients get their medicine, even if they cannot afford it.
So we see it a lot, probably every day, at least every other day. You have patients that can't afford to pick up their medications. We try to work in-house here. We have the ability to get samples for very expensive drugs, and there's different programs that these patients can be a part of.
Dr. John Jones says he hopes this lawsuit will fix the issues in the long run, but for now, he will do what he can for his patients that are struggling. In Perry County, Madison Carmouche, WYMT Mountain News.
The pharmacy benefit managers included in the lawsuit are CVS, Caremark, Optum Rx, and Express Scripts. They are reportedly increasing prices for patients to increase their own profit. The Kentucky Realtors Relief Foundation and the National Association of Realtors Relief Foundation have partnered together to provide $100,000 in relief funds to those in Western Kentucky affected by the flooding last month. The Kentucky Realtors Relief Foundation has provided nearly $2 million in funding since the December 2021 tornadoes that struck Western Kentucky and the flooding that occurred in Eastern Kentucky last year.
And I know we're not the only organization that came through during a difficult time, but a number of our members have been boots on the ground, have distributed checks in person, have physically walked to the properties and held and hugged the people who were negatively affected. The stories are numerous.
Funding is limited to 1 month of housing expenses up to $1,000. Those impacted by the flooding are encouraged to apply at kyrealtors.com/relief. Applications are open now and are due by September 30th. Setup is taking place in downtown Corbin for the Nibrock Festival. The festival takes place on Main Street in Corbin, complete with a carnival, vendors, food, and live musical acts. Bruce Carpenter says this is something that people look forward to every year and is surprised how many people from outside the region come in.
It's been here for 71 years and folks look forward to it every year. You get a lot of folks from the outside the area and the region. And so it's something that folks look forward to every year, yes.
Some of the festivities began yesterday, but the music performances start today while the festival continues through Saturday. The Mountain Association has purchased a major building in the heart of one Eastern Kentucky city's downtown. WYMT's Keaton Hall has more on how they hope to aid in revitalizing the area and how they are taking community input as well.
The Mountain Association is laying the groundwork on a major revitalization project in downtown Hazard.
This building was empty for 7 years, and we asked the question, how can we bring these back into use?
Peter Hilly, president of the Mountain Association, says they're ironing out the plans for the 11,000 square foot old First Federal Bank building.
Of course, we want to have some office space for the Mountain Association here. We also think commercial space, maybe restaurant space, possibly some residential space in the upper floors.
Hilly says they've tapped Deco Architects out of Somerset to help lead the design.
There are a couple different ways to design. One is top down, where we just say, hey, here's what everyone's going to get. We've come up with this. And the other approach is bottom up, where there's a lot of community focus, there's a lot of feedback.
And community input will be valued. On Wednesday, they held an open meeting to hear feedback from those in the area. A place to watch the game with family and a spot for local artists were just some of the recommendations.
And what's going to be important for communities is to recreate themselves as places where people can live and will choose to live. And if we're successful at that, people will bring their jobs with them.
And advice was also taken on what to do with the bank's signature feature, the vault door.
If we have a restaurant here, Maybe it'll be featured in the restaurant. Maybe the vault room will be the place where you can go to have your next special event.
Hoping to lock down Hazard as a place to be. In Perry County, Keaton Hall, WYMT Mountain News.
Officials with the Mountain Association say they will spend the next few years remodeling the downtown building. Yesterday was move-in day for many freshmen at Eastern Kentucky University in Richmond. 2,900 freshmen are enrolled this fall. The school believes it could be the largest class in school history. And for a lot of these newcomers, this is their first time away from home.
This is the first time I've been alone all by myself without anybody. I hope I can find many friends and many people I can relate to, especially with being a first gen. That would be helpful.
EKU's president, Dr. David McFadden, says the school has seen 30% growth in the freshman class since 2020. He says programs like aviation, nursing, and a new manufacturing program are helping increase enrollment. Move-in is happening for campuses across the state. New students at Morehead State University move in today and Friday.
.611 on this soggy Thursday morning. We continue to see again the possibility for some heavy rain rolling through the region this morning the last few hours on satellite radar. For the kids moving in at Morehead today, again, go Eagles. You might be in better shape than maybe some of the kids at Eastern were this morning, especially if they're still having move-in, but it's just one of those situations. You just got to be aware of where it's at. The rain will continue off and on throughout the day, mainly around the Hal Rogers Parkway, Highway 80 corridor and south. Raining pretty good in Somerset right now out in Pulaski County. 68 degrees down that way this morning. 70 in Monticello, Jacksboro, Morehead. Those 70s are getting fewer and far between. Harlan, Prestonsburg, Ashland, and 72 in Logan. Everybody else is in the 60s with Wise at 63. 70s out toward Louisville, Lexington, Bowling Green, and Clarksville. Also Paducah and Nashville as well. Up in Ashland too. Scattered showers and storms after this morning. That will carry us into the afternoon hours. Hopefully we'll clear out just a little bit later today. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. Olivia?
Thank you, Brandon, and thanks for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, President Biden revealed new plans to protect national security against investments made in China.